contest, scheduled for one fall. It's time! It's time!
You don't see me crying. You don't see me down on my knees begging about it.
There's the tag.
Welcome to the Grill Out Hot Tag. Here's your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty.
Boom, boom, boom.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new side of the Grill Out. We are calling this the Grill Out Hot Tag. I am your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty. I am joined by Jason Likens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cream of the crop. Yeah.
Always rises to the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And off to my right is Josh Cole. Bye-bye. Are you Joe Hendry now?
Maybe.
Maybe.
No,
maybe.
you're definitely not.
My brother's name's Joe.
That is true. And I've never knew that I actually knew your brother until yeah. I do know who your brother is.
Joe Cole?
Yeah.
Swear to God.
Joe Cole.
Yeah. Oh, Joseph, but yeah.
Joseph.
Yeah. Goes by Joe, but yeah.
Joe Cole.
Yeah.
Swear.
Joe Cole.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyway.
Joe Cole.
Anyway.
Yeah.
This is this is not going to be a full episode of the Grill Out like we normally put out.
Yeah.
Happy 1 year birthday to the Grill Out. Okay, We've been around for a year now. This is going to be a sort of monthly extra that we're going to throw out. And we're going to be tackling a variety of topics from the wrestling history to, maybe the belt expert can go ahead and get on, talk about, championship belts and whatever.
History and stuff.
Yeah, talk about the history of championship belts and stuff. And then Jason Likens possibly fantasy booking certain things.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to take this episode by episode, but this will be sort of an extra for everybody that is exclusively on Spreaker, Spotify, Podcast Addict,
All of
etc.
your podcast platforms.
Yes, any
and YouTube.
Yeah. But this is going to be an easily digestible episode. No breaks, no segments, but yes. And the first episode that we are doing, which is this one, is going to be talking.
Is it going to be a great one?
It is going to be a great one.
How
Coming
great?
from Japan.
Coming straight from Japan.
We're definitely in West Virginia.
Yeah, we are definitely in West Virginia. But we are talking about a Japanese wrestling legend.
I see. That's the part that's coming from Japan. Gotcha.
Yes, and he is, a lot of you know who he is, the Great Muta.
Yeah, he was really great.
He was awesome in the ring.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Muta Scale. If you don't know what the Muta Scale is, I'm going to explain that as we go along.
Because I don't really know.
Yeah, you're about to learn. You're about to learn the origins of the Muta Scale and where it kind of wraps up, goes with everyone.
The year was 1722.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know anything about this, so.
This man, I don't know if you could call him that. This monster struck fear into not only his opponents, but everyone around him. Moving like a man possessed, attacking his opponents with hatred only a monster of demonic nature can hold. That is only one side of him, though. His other side is the man named Keiji Muto, but the world knows him better as his alter ego, the Great Muta. A lot of you do remember him. Most of you do anyway, from his time in WCW, but he is an absolute legend in Japan.
Josh, do you remember him?
Nope.
Really?
I don't.
The matches like Great Muta versus Sting?
I don't. When was he in WCW?
Oh, late 80s?
Late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, that's why.
Yep. I'm actually... that ties a little bit into this.
Oh,
okay, so as we get going.
Okay.
But yes, the Great Muta, Keiji Muto, a.k.a. the Great Muta. If you're sitting there, you're a fan of Finn Balor, and you liked the Demon, just know that the Demon was inspired by the Great Muta.
I mean, Tajiri.
The
whole mist.
Yeah, like you can see the Great Muta's, what's the word I'm looking for? Influence throughout wrestling.
Well, yeah, you could also... look him up on YouTube.
You could. I highly
see him.
Yeah, I highly recommend you doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
He was innovative in the ring, creating the Muta Lock along with the Shining Wizard. Keiji Muto not only set the bar for pro wrestling, but his influence can be felt through the world of professional wrestling today. That is a discussion for another day, though.
Quick, no, what is the Muta Lock?
So the Muta Lock is how do I explain this? So the STF, right? It's like that, except you're doing it backward. Like your opponent's still in the same position, but you are flipped and you're doing it backwards.
Okay.
That is the Muta lock. The Shining Wizard, which is something that he came up with later on in his career, because his main finisher was the moonsault. That takes a toll on your knees after a long time. Yeah, Jason's got a picture of the Muta lock right there. The Shining Wizard is like, so your opponent is down in a prone position, like down on one knee. And Muta pretty much just comes up, hits you with his knee.
Yeah.
Or he steps up on your leg.
Yeah, steps up on the knee that you have stationary and then hits you with his other knee.
And is it, who is it that does the shiniest wizard
That's what I was trying to think of.
in WWE?
I don't know right off the top of my head, but it is influenced from...
Tegan Knox?
Maybe.
It could be. Whoever's doing it, it is inspired by the great Muta.
Well, and Tajiri even used the Shining Wizard.
Yes.
I believe Hurricane Helms used it for a bit.
Yeah. And like I said, that was something that he came up with later on in his career.
Yeah.
So, where was I at?
Yes, it was Tegan Knox.
yeah.
Shiniest wizard.
So today we are inviting you to join us as we take a look at the beginning of something else that Kaiji Muta, well, his alter ego, the Great Muta, is credited for. We're talking about the infamous Muta Scale and where it all began.
Where did it all begin, Jeff?
First off, anything that I say in this recording, don't try it at home.
Wait,
Just
don't try saying the stuff at home?
Don't do what,
Don't try pro wrestling at home.
Don't try, yes, exactly. Don't try
Do it at your high school.
No.
You know that thing you want to do? Don't do it.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Hey, hold on. I see you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Not here. No.
No.
Don't do it.
Okay, so first off, Muta was a absolute madman. You think he looked and acted a little crazy in WCW. Wait until you see him running at you with a ring spike and wanting to harm you in Japan, which is what he would do quite often. Oh, yeah, he would straight up grab a ring spike and chase after you.
Pure chaos.
Jushin Thunder Liger was on the receiving end of one of those, which led to Kishin Liger, which is something totally different to talk about another day. That's an alter ego, the Jushin Thunder Liger. So, yes, he was a madman, and like I said, wait until you see him running at you with a ring spike. Yes, a Muta match was crazy. He would usually do something heinous somewhere in the match, usually by grabbing a weapon, sometimes a ring spike, again, don't do this at home, to attack his opponent with. The ref, because he wanted absolutely no part of that, would wait and see what the response is from his opponent. If his opponent grabbed a weapon to defend themselves, then it's a no DQ. If they just stood there and did not defend themselves, then it would be a disqualification. It was pretty much up to the discretion of the opponent on whether or not it was going to be a DQ. Most of the time, they would defend themselves, so therefore they just kind of let it go, which is pretty common within Japanese pro wrestling.
Okay.
Sometimes you can just grab a weapon or put somebody through a table, and they're going to be a little more lenient with it, especially if it's a title match or like a tournament match. They want to avoid any type of disqualification.
Okay, so, I mean, did Muta use a lot of weapons?
Yes, he actually did. So, most of the time, opponents would defend themselves. And when I say that Muta grabbed weapons, like what you just said, that Muta grabbed weapons, I mean he grabbed them and just kept piling them on. There's actually a match between him and Power Warrior from 1997 where they're on the outside of the ring. Power Warrior, who is sort of an extension of the Road Warriors in Japan, he is on the outside of the ring. And do you remember the clip from ECW where Mick Foley's just getting all the chairs thrown on him from the crowd?
Yeah.
Imagine that, but on the side of the ring, and it's Muta throwing all of the chairs that he can grab at you.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he just kept piling them on to him.
Okay.
So, now, the person who started, who he was with, to start the Muta Scale with, the unofficial, infamous Muta Scale, I'm going to go ahead and set the stage for this individual.
Set the stage, Jeff.
In walks a man who is not afraid of the monster named Muta, not willing to back down because of the power of his majestic mullet.
How majestic are we talking?
I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10.
Okay, describe this mullet. Like, are we talking about Tennessee top hat?
No.
Kentucky waterfall?
Joe Dirt.
I would say it was like Eddie Guerrero's mullet, except
Okay.
shorter in the back.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Okay.
it was majestic.
Is it like permed?
Oh no. Like just.
Is it greasy though?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It's a majestic mullet.
Okay.
He was also. This is a fun fact. He was also Japan's Minister of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology at one point.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
In walks Hiroshi Hayes. Who is Hiroshi Hayes?
Well, that's what I would like to know now.
Exactly. Former tag team partner of Keiji Muto and the Great Muta.
Both of them at the same time?
Separate, but yeah, he was a former tag team partner of Keiji Muto. He was once again in a feud with the Great Muta. I say once again because a couple of years earlier, when Muta first came back from the United States, he went on excursion to WCW in the late 80s, early 90s. He came back. He had this program with Hiroshi Hayes. I believe this was in 1990, so he had just gotten back. He had just left WCW, went ahead and came back, which is a tradition that Japanese wrestling still does.
Yes.
They still send their wrestlers off on excursion to foreign promotions to have them learn how to work different styles. One of the more infamous types of excursions is Kazuchika Okada's excursion to TNA, where they just kind of...
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I believe Muta was in the NWO.
Yes, he was. He was in... So there was a... they were called NWO Japan. Scott Norton was a member.
NWO Sting.
Yes. There was...
Who I think is still in New Japan.
I think he's still doing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Muta was also there. There was also another gentleman by the name of Masahiro Chono.
Yes.
Who was those two were 2/3 of what was called the Three Musketeers of New Japan, which also included Shinya Hashimoto.
Okay.
The Three Musketeers of New Japan is still sort of a thing today. I don't know exactly who is the Three Musketeers now because it's been kind of fractured. But they were sort of the first iteration of that. And then later on, you got Shinsuke Nakamura, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Katsuri Shibata. And then later on, you got Naito, Okada, and I can't remember who the third one is right off the top of my head. But yes, it's sort of those are your aces. Those are your three that you can lean on.
Well, I mean, if you're going to bring up an ace, you're going to have to talk about Tanahashi. But
yeah.
So
Go Ace.
So take us back to the Great Muta Hayes.
So Hiroshi Hayes.
People?
What is it?
He was hazing people?
You can sort of.
Now, is it Hayes who had the mullet?
Yes, Hiroshi Hayes had the mullet.
Okay.
And yes, he was in the feud. He was in a feud in 1990 with Muta. Muta gave him the absolute beating of his life in this match.
Like, how bad are we talking?
Oh, it's bad. Like, there was blood, and there was a lot of it.
Like a lot?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot. And remember, this is in 1990.
Yeah.
It was a horror show, not only to Hayes, but to the crowd as well. Muta had drawn not just some blood, but a lot of it.
Buckets.
Needless to say, Hayes had some payback for Keiji Muto, but also for the mystique of the Great Muta.
Okay, so that's what led into what's coming up.
Yes, that is sort of the genesis to what led to this infamous match between Hiroshi Hayes and the Great Muta in 1992.
Okay, so we have the Great Muta versus Hayes.
Yes.
We've got Mullet versus Mist.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Yes, that's where we're at. Now, that right there, yes, that was in 1990. Fast forward to 1992, the Great Muta and Hiroshi Hayes are once again facing each other. Some 10 minutes into the match, Hayes gains the upper hand on Muta. He then starts to rub off, because Muta had this, he would have the face paint when he was going out as the Great Muta.
Yes.
Hiroshi Hayes is rubbing that red face paint because it was red. He was rubbing it off of Muta with his hands, and eventually he was taking the bottoms of his boots and he was scraping his head, trying to get
the kickstart.
Pretty much.
Okay.
He was just really and truly he was being a bit of a douchebag.
Yeah.
But I get it that Muta had it coming, but Muta is gonna do Muta things. So of course he grabs a weapon.
Of course.
Yes, he grabs a weapon. But you know what? He grabs that ring spike. He's coming at Hiroshi Hayes. He's not just going against any ordinary man. He's going against a man who not only has a plan for Japanese education and culture in the future, but a man with a sweet mullet.
Sweet mullet.
A sweet mullet. Hiroshi Hayes takes the weapon away and strikes Muta with the weapon, and of course there's blood, and Muta looks like a straight-up wounded animal at this point. Like, there was a lot of blood in that in that 1990 match, but this 1992 match took it to a whole nother level.
Okay.
I mean, there was... I will compare it later on in this script, but
okay.
just there was... it was, like when WWE, somebody gets busted open and they do a replay of that and they make it black and white.
Yes.
I don't think they could even, with the black and white, I don't even think they could, cover this up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how much blood there was in this.
Okay.
So he does. Muta looks like a straight-up wounded animal. And like I said, he's going after not only the Great Muta, but the mystique surrounding the Great Muta at the time. Because you got to think, he just came back from excursion a couple years ago. He has been running roughshod over people.
So is Hayes trying to show that, like, Muta is not this monster, but he's just a man? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he is trying. He has a personal vendetta against Muta.
Okay.
And he is trying to show that there is a weakness to this monster that everybody has sort of become afraid of. So,
okay.
But here is the beauty of Japanese psychology, a.k.a. Puroresu. The fighting spirit of a competitor, or in this case, a wounded monster, will assist in the triumph over their adversary. It's sort of a much better version of Hulk Hogan's hulking up.
Okay.
So, Muta then starts to fight back, despite losing quite a bit of blood. Like, it's a massacre and definitely not PG. Not only is the Great Muta trying to find the fire to fight back, but the man behind him, Keiji Muto, is as well. Keiji Muto, excuse me. After having just about enough of Hiroshi Hayes, Muta then just completely destroys him, finishing him off with a moonsault for the win. This match set a standard that night that is and that standard is how well getting color worked in a match. Of course, we've known this for years. Okay, go back and watch any Ric Flair or Dusty Rhodes match from the 80s. Okay, you're going to see blood. You're going to see how effective it is. But we never actually had a scale for it until this match came about. Full disclosure, for those of you that do not know, blood in wrestling is real. It is very real. They do not use blood capsules, at least almost never.
Like the one time with Roman Reigns?
Yeah, like there's been a couple of instances, but for the most part, it's real blood. And I'm not really going to go so far into how getting color, they get color in wrestling. I mean, yeah, it's rather gruesome, but just know that blood in wrestling is very, very real.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty sharp trick.
Yes, it is. But like I said, we knew how effective it was, but we did not have a scale for it. With this match, we have it. The Muta Scale, which is an unofficial scale created by fans, it scores how well and how much blood was used in a match. The Great Muta's match with Hiroshi Hayes at NJPW's Final Battle on December 14th, 1992, is the standard and scores 1 Muta. That is your standard right there. That match has 1 Muta to it.
So one being like the bloodiest, or
no? That's the baseline.
Okay, so baseline is 1.
Yes, 1. Now, and in a way, you're not like you're comparing anytime you have blood in a match, you're comparing it to this match. Now, granted, this match had a lot of blood to it.
Okay,
that's why this match gets 1 Muta. It goes up and down. Most of the time, it's below because nobody's getting that much blood.
Well, I have to ask.
Okay,
if we're talking about blood in a match and color in a match. Eddie Guerrero versus JBL, Judgment Day 2004.
I am so glad you brought that up.
Where is that on the Muta scale?
That is 3 Mutas.
Jesus.
Good Lord.
So, and neither of you have seen this match that I'm talking about, okay? But you've both seen the Eddie Guerrero JBL match. Yeah. To put it into context, yes, that is that tripled the scale.
That is okay.
That is 3 Mutas, is what that is. Yeah, so just think about all the blood in that Judgment Day match.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this and you're like, well, which New Japan match is he talking about? You can go back and watch it, but just for reference, because I know that a lot of people have seen that JBL match, it is 3 Mutas. Okay. Now, on the other end of that is Cesaro's terrible attempt at getting color, and I think both of you know what I'm talking about.
I remember that.
So, yes, like what we said, we don't really want to get too far into how you get color in wrestling because it can get rather graphic, but yes, you use a rather sharp tool to do it. And when Cesaro tried to get color...
Yeah, when he tried to gig himself.
Yeah, it just looked like a cat scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, it just went right across his forehead. You could tell what he tried doing, and it didn't work. That right there is like 0.1 Muta.
Okay.
Or you can probably go lower than that.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, was it just like a group of fans that created this, or is there like someone specific we can pinpoint
It's a group of fans. It's sort of one of those internet lore things that nobody really knows exactly where it came from, but it's kind of been there ever since. And I think it started on message boards back in the day. Because that's where a lot of people, like back in the early 90s, in the United States, you didn't have access to Japanese wrestling.
Yeah.
And the best way for you to get access to Japanese wrestling was through tape trading.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of tape traders back in the day. And a lot of these tape traders, it's back in the 90s. We don't have the cell phones that we do now. You can't pull up, Twitter or whatever and, talk to somebody about what you saw in that match. They would go to message boards.
Basically social media of the 90s.
It was. It basically was. And that is where the Muta Scale started, was sort of with the IWC. And again, nobody knows exactly where it came from. But it's an unofficial scale, but fans still use it from time to time.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Message boards.
Okay, so we have Guerrero JBL.
3 Muta.
Cesaro.
0.1.
What is John Moxley getting ready to go on a date with Renee Paquette? Like, where does that fall on the Muta scale?
That's like 0.3.
0.3? Okay.
0.3, yeah.
Okay.
I would give it a 0.3 Muta.
So is Guerrero JBL the highest?
I don't know what the official highest is. That is the highest one I could find.
I'll be honest, I would be worried to see what beats that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see what beats that. Because one... Because didn't Eddie almost die in that match because of that?
Yeah.
Like he had a main artery or something.
Way too deep.
Yeah, he cut. Yeah, I remember seeing it and I was like, oh, that's that. It turns your stomach watching.
Whenever it kind of squirts a little bit.
That right there. That already gives you a Muta and a half. Okay. Yeah. When you see it just squirting out like that, like a Capri Sun, it is. That's a Muta and a half at that point.
God, I haven't had one of those in a long time.
I know,
Capri Sun, not a.
At last, that is not Muto's entire legacy. He is easily in the Mount Rushmore conversation. And honestly, I can go all day talking about his career from what he did in New Japan to him going over to All Japan and his founding of the now defunct wrestling promotion Wrestle One. Hiroshi Hayes is still in politics and is the current governor of Ishikawa Prefecture, which is basically a province in Japan like they are in Canada. So, Muto is a Japanese legend, Hall of Famer, has all these accolades.
He's now retired.
Finally, now retired. I mean, the man has put in his time.
Yeah. Final match was with Sting.
Yes, it was. It was.
Well, involved Sting. But I'm sorry, what were you saying, Josh?
He works with Noah now, right? Or does stuff with Noah?
Yes, he does. He does do stuff with Noah now. And yes, Hiroshi Hayes, he's still in politics.
Yeah.
So, yes, and he is like I said, he's the governor of Ishikawa Prefecture, which is, like I said, basically a province. There are provinces within Japan. It's not so much like how it is here in the United States, and you have a state and everything, not to go too far into that. But, yeah, it's more or less how they are in Canada, where Canada has their own different provinces.
Yes.
So that's the best way to equate it to somebody in North America. But, yes, that is the origins of the Muta Scale, how the Muta Scale actually works, and how you can apply this to any match that gets color in. You just have to, like I said, compare it to the one match. What that was December 14th, 1992, NJPW Final Battle, the Great Muta versus Hiroshi Hayes. So that is all that I have for this first episode of the Grill Out Hot Tag.
Yeah.
So, and this is also something that a lot of people, I've seen people talk about it online about the Muta Scale, but I don't know if anybody has ever really dove deep on this. I know that I attempted YouTube a few years back, and I did do a video of it on there. Don't go looking for it. The audio on it is atrocious, but yeah, and this is basically just a revamped script from all of that. So, yeah, go ahead and email us, thegrillout95. Tell us what you think of the Muta Scale. Tell us,
Jeff, if I may, I have a list here of Muta Scale matches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And by the way, I'm glad you brought that up, because when I was researching this was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yes.
This was during COVID when I was researching this. So, go ahead.
Okay, so Eddie Guerrero in the JBL match, as we said, is a 3.0.
Okay.
John Cena versus JBL, which was the I Quit match from Judgment Day 2005. Cena received a 2.0.
I was wondering about that.
What is with JBL in these Judgment Day matches?
Well, this one is not JBL involved. This is Necro Butcher.
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, and let's see.
Deathmatch legend,
against
Necro Butcher.
Samoa Joe. And let's see, Necro would start bleeding when literally 5 minutes into the match, Joe starts shoot headbutting Necro, immediately splitting him open.
Hard way.
Yeah, only received a 2.5. Randy Orton, SummerSlam 2016, against Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar opening him up with his elbow.
Yep.
0.75. Bill Alfonso. Bill Alfonso is on here. And let's see.
What is he at on the Muta Scale?
Would wrestle Tommy Dreamer's wife, Beulah McGillicuddy, 1.5. So higher than Cesaro.
No, higher than the Muta, than the actual Muta match.
Yeah.
That's 1.5 Muta, right?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. It is, I mean, it's bad.
I'm sorry, I was just reading further on into this. And this is honorable mentions.
Okay.
I'm just going to read this to you. Ric Flair, literally every day of his life.
Sorry, Ric Flair fans. The hair worked.
Ric Flair, career scaling, 100.
Good Lord. Is Undertaker Vince McMahon Survivor Series 2003 on there?
It is not.
Oh, wow. McMahon got bloody in that.
Yeah. Yes, he did. But, yeah, that is... And then, it says the last one on here is the mass transit incident, and simply did not feel like talking about this one. So
yeah, that one's a hard talk.
Yeah, the kid wasn't trained.
And I don't even think that one should be even... I don't think the Muta Scale should even be applied to that.
No.
And I can safely say that now.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. May he rest in peace, New Jack.
Yeah. I will say I don't really agree with the Bill Alfonso one. I don't think it should have gone higher than Muta itself.
Maybe a 0.8?
Maybe. I mean, it says here that the ECW blue ring canvas would be colored red, as everywhere Bill went in the ring would instantly be covered in blood. So maybe.
I don't know. Maybe we should watch that match.
It could be that part of it was the fact that Bill Alfonso wasn't, technically a wrestler.
Yeah, true.
So maybe that's where they put it.
So you make a good point with that, because I don't. If we're going to apply the logic to the mass transit incident, saying that we're not going to apply the Muta Scale here because he was not a trained wrestler, the story and everything, then maybe that should also be applied to Bill Alfonso, Beulah McGillicuddy.
Well, but at least they were trained to be in the ring.
True.
With the other incident, I mean, it was a kid put in there, and yeah. Liberties were taken.
Very much so.
And
there is a reason why an entire episode of Dark Side of the Ring is there's a reason why it's mentioned in Dark Side of the Ring. Well, in the New Jack episode.
Yes.
Like, that amongst the other things New Jack committed.
Yes.
Vic Grimes, that whole ordeal. But yeah, no, I agree.
But that is a discussion for another day.
It is. And that is going to conclude our first episode of the Grill Out Hot Tag.
Hot Tag.
I wanted to say hot takes.
Nope.
Hot cakes.
Are you hungry?
A little bit.
Me too. Y'all want to go get some hot cakes now?
Yeah, let's go get some hot cakes. If there's a certain topic you would like for us to cover on this new extension,
Hot cakes.
Get your hot cakes. If there is a certain subject you would like for us to cover on the Grill Out Hot Tag, not takes, hot tag, let us know at the grill. Email us thegrillout95@gmail.com, or you can let us know on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And until next time, fellow wrestling fans, have a good one.